Hello Year 11 and welcome to this virtual induction day for religious studies here at Holmer Green Senior School. For those of you who are new, I'm Miss Kirkpatrick and I'm Head of Humanities, and that means that if you're choosing geography, history or politics, you will see me a lot popping in and out of your lessons. However, I'm also the lead teacher of religious studies, and that's what I'm going to focus on talking to you today about. So the way that you'll be taught in religious studies for A-level is your 4 hours will be divided between two teachers, both myself and Mr. Sheen, who will introduce himself on a later slide. You'll have 2 hours with me teaching you ethics and 2 hours with Mr. Sheen teaching you philosophy. In Year 13, we divide this teaching between the two of us, still 2 hours each, on the development of Christian thought paper known as DCT. The reason why we study Christianity is so that anyone who's an external student will not be disadvantaged going into this A-level. So the A-level is divided into 3 separate distinct papers. Paper 1 is philosophy, paper 2 is ethics, and paper 3 is DCT, or development in Christian thought. So the religion paper. So already you should be able to identify that the specific religion element of the A-level in religious studies is only 1/3. So it's not quite as potentially you might have first thought. As you can see, each paper is equally weighted. And what we mean by that is they are all worth 33.3% of your overall A-level. So there is not one paper that is more important than another. Every single paper has a total of 4 questions, and you choose to do 3. Each paper is 2 hours long, so each essay therefore is for 40 minutes long. This might sound like a really long time to be sitting a 2-hour paper, but trust me, it goes by quite quickly. Each paper is basically doing a longer 12, or if you've done a different example, 15-mark answer. So one long question in that time. You should have been doing them in 30 minutes for your GCSE as it is, so doing it in 40 minutes for your A-level isn't much more, and we can use a very similar kind of writing frame, which when we're in class, we can talk you through that. But I'd like to walk you through what each of these papers involves, because probably these words of philosophy, ethics and DCT mean very little to you right now.
Hello there, I'm Mr. Sheen and I'll be teaching you the philosophy part of your RS A-level course. I'll also be teaching you some of the development in Christian thought module, as well as Ms. Kirkpatrick touched on earlier. Now, let's start with philosophy. A lot of people always ask me, but sir, what is philosophy? And I always say it's that love and thirst for knowledge, especially with questions that are about existence, God, and even bigger questions about life. And that's what I try to talk to you about and teach you about in philosophy. Let's take God, for example. God is something that is an ambiguous and personal concept. Now, back in the ancient Greek period, there were 2 people called Aristotle and Plato, who will be your first philosophers that you learn about. Plato thought that there was some giant form of a god, but it was just pure goodness, whereas Aristotle thought that actually there was a god, but he lived outside our time and space, and he didn't actually know that we exist. These thoughts actually touched on the rest of religion that we know today. Not only do we look at things about God, but about existence, about the soul, the mind and the body. We also look at philosophers who think that it's all wrong, and we then pit them off against one another. The philosophy paper itself is 33.3% of your total A-level. As you can see, there is a running theme here. There are 3 parts, therefore they are all equally weighted. There is 120 marks on your paper, and that is a 2-hour exam. So therefore you have 40 minutes per question, because there are 40 marks available. Just like GCSE, we like to work at a mark a minute, and we will gear you for that.
The ethics paper is asking you about the rights and wrongs, the moral and the immoral. It gives you basically a code of conduct, an idea, an action, and then asks you to think about, could we all in the entire world live our lives according to that? For example, one of the first theories we're going to look at is utilitarianism. I know it's a big word, But in utilitarianism, it basically fundamentally comes down to just do what makes you happy. Now that's lovely and that's a lovely idea. But if it makes me happy to go up to Mr. Sheen and slap him around the face, then according to this theory, that's what I should do. However, that would make Mr. Sheen very unhappy. So then you've got to weigh up the pleasure and the happiness over the pain. Which one wins out? That's the kind of thing that we'd be looking at within ethics. Within each paper, you have 8 topics, and they all discuss and look at these different kind of things. We'll be talking about applied as well. So having case studies that will be applying these kind of ethical theories too. So for example, business ethics and euthanasia. We'll also be debating significant ideas around conscience. So conscience is this idea from science that it's to do with chemicals in the brain and the way that we behave, or this idea of nature versus nurture, if you've ever heard of that. Or we can look at it from another point of view, is it the voice of God talking inside your head? So we will have discussions about that. Within ethics, there is no right or wrong. It is just how you argue your point. So if you are really liking the idea of arguing, then you will massively enjoy ethics.
The Development in Christian Thought paper, or DCT, aims to take you through Christian thought and how it has been developed throughout time, whether that be on the roles of women or even human nature. We don't sit there and talk about the Christian God week in, week out. We don't sit there and go through the GCSE spec again about everything about baptism and the Eucharist and everything else. Instead, we look at how Christianity has developed as a faith, including the roles of women, including who Jesus actually was, the person of Jesus Christ. Was he more than just this figure that went around and healed people, but instead liberated them, helped them break away from their chains? We also have a whole liberation theology part of it, where we look at people like Karl Marx, okay, and how they have actually influenced Christianity as a whole. We look at the aspect of the Pope and see what the popes have said. But not only that, we do link all this back to Christianity itself. We do look at Christian concepts, but it will be building on that GCSE knowledge that you already have, whether it's about life after death or even as Jesus. Don't forget those wonderful Bible quotes that we taught you throughout GCSE, because you will be using them again. If you need to brush up on them, you should still have your GCSE revision. It is something worth knowing that this is also 33.3% of your total A level, therefore a third. As I said before, it is all equally weighted. Once again, 120 marks are available, which means that means 40 minutes per question, and therefore you have 2 hours to do it. See, now I know what you're thinking. You've gone through all of the spec and we've spoken to you about what our course is, and you're thinking, this is excellent, but what am I going to need for September? Well, I'm about to tell you. First of all, you know we love a good folder, okay? For our external students, we love to work in folders because it allows you to keep organised and will help you in future life. Therefore, you're going to need a folder, but not only one folder. We want you to have 3 folders. Yes, I will repeat that again, 3 folders. 1 for ethics, 1 for philosophy, and 1 for the development in Christian thought. They can be any colour, they can have any patterns on them whatsoever. It is completely up to you. We do not mind. But you must have 3. Also, I'm just going to show you the textbooks that we use. Okay, so this is the green book, as me and Miss will refer to it as. You can buy this book from Amazon. Okay, there are loads of them on there. You can buy them pre-owned, you can buy them brand new. It is your personal preference on that. But if you buy them, make sure you buy year 1 and year 2. Okay, if you're just buying them one at a time, that's fine. Start with the year 1 for obvious reasons, and then buy the year 2 later on. However, it's both to buy them both together because you can get them as a set bundle instead of buying them apart, which will actually cost you more money in the long run. Next, stationery. At the time that I'm recording this, we are undergoing a pandemic. Okay, the coronavirus has had implications for everyone, especially in education. You need to bring your own stationery. You cannot turn to my lesson without a pen because I cannot lend you one due to health and safety. Okay, and to be quite fair, you are in sixth form now and it is no longer GCSE. You should have your own stationery anyway. You should be prepared. Okay, so bring all of your own stationery, pens, pencils, rulers, rubbers, notepads to work from, everything that you may need. If you wish to also work from a laptop, please do bring your own. That is absolutely fine by myself, but you still need to keep a folder. Okay, bridging work. The bridging work is found on the Home Green website, and hopefully you've already had a chance to look at that. Don't forget, it's not just watch 2 films and then come in and be like, oh yes sir, I watched that film, it was really, really good. We have an essay question on that, okay, and we need those sheets filled out as well. The bridging work itself is really, really fun, and I've already had some people email me about the matrix in particular, which has been really good to see because it's made a bit more discussion. If you do have any questions, please do email us, and our emails will be at the very end of this presentation. But please do email, and we can help you out in any way. And last but not least, probably the most important thing is an open mind. If you don't get something straight away, that's fine. But you need to keep open-minded. You can't just close your mind and go, no, I'm never going to get this. No, there's no point in me even trying anymore. Oh, what's this all about? No, I don't like this. You need that open mind. This is going to be different from GCSE RS. This is going to be hard. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you close your mind off and if you don't keep it open, you will not understand anything, you will not enjoy it, and you will struggle even more. Okay? So those are your instructions on your equipment. That is what you need. If you need to go out and get it, jog on.
So this is a little taster of something that we would discuss within the ethics unit. So you witness a car crash and the wreckage is burning, but you may be able to save one of the 2 passengers you can see inside the cars. To your horror, you realise that one is your father and the other is a famous cancer specialist who is on the brink of a breakthrough, because we all know exactly who that is. Just go with it. Now, who do you save? Your heart is probably telling you, I'd save my father, because I don't actually owe the other person anything. And you're right, you don't. Whereas your father brought you into the world, it's your family. There's a different kind of bond and connection. However, if you saved the specialist, the scientist that's on the brink of a breakthrough, how many more lives could that doctor save by actually getting through with their breakthrough? So you've got 1 life versus potentially 1 million lives. How do you make that decision? Only you can make that decision, and tell me why. Another idea. Your mother comes home with an appalling haircut and she asks you, what do you think? She's clearly very delighted with her new style. Do you tell her the truth? Now, this comes from the idea of basically, should we always tell the truth? And generally, I'm all for that. Yes, you should. Yeah, I should tell my mother, you look horrific. I'm not sure that's quite the look you were going for. People are going to throw things at you in the streets. There's that side to it. But if we took that a step further, say someone came knocking on your door and you've got this belief that you should always tell the truth. And that person who knocks on the door has an axe and says, where's your mum? I'm going to go kill her. Now, if you always tell the truth, you then should tell that axe murderer where your mum is, knowing that they're going to go kill her. So can we always go with the idea that you should always tell the truth?